The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Modern Mom Probs, where we're trying to solve the world's modern mom problems. And if we can't do that, at least we're having fun talking about them. I'm Tara Clark. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Modern Mom Probs. I'm your girl, Tara, and here on Modern Mom Probs, we're trying to solve the world's modern mom problems. And if we can't do that, at least we're having fun talking about them. Today's topic is weight loss and nutrition. I am joined by my friend of nearly 40 years, Katie Mulvaney. She is a health coach. She is a nutritionist. She is a yoga instructor. She has a new book out called The Missing Links to Weight Loss. And so I'm going to ask Katie all about what those missing links are. So without further ado, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening to each episode. And Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you back. Now, the first time you were on the show, we were talking about friendships and how hard it is sometimes to make mom friends. And you and I have been friends for now 40 years.
40 years.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I had to take a breath when I said that because it's hard to believe that you could know somebody for 40 years, but we have been friends.
That you're not related to, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's not like your sibling or your cousin or something like that. Yeah,
Totally.
no, we're pretty much like cousins or siblings at this point. 40 years, it's a long time. But today you're back, and I'm so glad that you are. I'm so grateful that you are because we're talking about your new book. You have a new book out.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, but before we get into that, I want you to share a little bit about who you are and share your story.
Sure, thanks. So I'm Katie Mulvaney. I am a nutritionist, a health coach, and I teach yoga. And, I've just been working in this field for 20 years, let's say now. It's been a minute. And it's kind of just been a frustrating field to be in because you see people have success or you see people doing well. And then a year later, you see them and they're back to where they were. And people all think that you need this healthy eating exercise to lose weight, but there's just a lot more to it than that. That's not the only thing that you need, especially to lose weight and keep it off.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So what are some of those things? Because one often thinks like, well, if I eat X and I work out Y, then that's the equation that's going to make me drop all of this weight. But that's not necessarily true.
Correct. Right. And especially, we see now when you're in your 40s, it's especially not true as much as it is. Even when you're younger, you lose weight and you always end up back on a diet at some other point, right? And everybody's kind of got that different point where they're like, now is the time I got to lose weight, right? And some people lose it more easily than others. But when you look at the statistics of people who actually lost significant weight and kept it off for the rest of their life, it's probably under 2 or 3% of the population.
Really?
Yes.
And we're saying without the help of GLP-1s or anything like that.
I started writing this book before GLP-1s, but everything's still relevant, I think, because, I think where people struggle with the GLP-1s is that's all that's happening is you're losing weight, but it's not helping you to be healthier. It's not helping you to change your mindset or be in shape or get your blood work better, eat healthier. It doesn't help with any of that. It's literally just making you smaller, right? So there's still a lot of work that needs to be put in if you want to do it in a healthy way.
Yeah, I guess there's a certain level of mindset shift that has to go into that when it comes to, well, obviously with the GLP-1s, but just losing weight in general. Now that we're in our mid-40s. My body is different from where it was 5 years ago, and especially 10 years ago. And I think part of that, I'm just guessing, would have to do with hormones, would have to do with perimenopause, like, and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I don't lose weight as quickly as I do. I'm just like the same weight. I don't really like gain weight. I don't really lose weight. It's just like an absolute plateau.
Which isn't a bad place to be, right? It's kind of just right in the middle. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, I think being in your 40s makes things more difficult for sure. And I think we tend to be a little busier in our 40s too. So we have even less time. One of the chapters in my book, so I didn't even say the name of my book, is The Missing Links to Weight Loss. And it's available on Amazon. But one of the chapters is actually about time management, because as much as the book's not necessarily for moms, it kind of, talks about that a lot, because I am one.
I was going to say, because you are a mom of two, you can't help but still write about what it's like to be a mom.
Yeah. So, sometimes it's just a matter of like, we're trying to do everything. And I know you've had so many shows about this, right? Just the struggles of being a mom and juggling everything. And, we'll get into these periods of time where we're like, okay, now I'm motivated. I got this blood test, or I wasn't able to do this physical thing that I wanted to. I'm really motivated to get in shape or to lose weight now. And we keep that up for a month or two. And then we're like, oh, I've let something else drop. And then you go back to that. And now maybe this drops or something else does. And it's really hard to keep all those balls in the air while you're juggling. So, I think one of the things that we miss is that, there's we have to address the issues. You can't just take things away and not replace them or not do something instead, right? We have to recognize why we're doing what we do and make a new pattern of how we can live our lives with all the balls up in the air.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of balls that we're juggling at any given time.
And also learning to be okay with some of them falling too, right?
Right.
And that's another
part. Yes. I've often heard the analogy of glass balls and rubber balls, and the rubber balls are the ones that you can drop and that will bounce, and the glass balls are the ones that will shatter when they fall. So you have to know the difference between what are your glass balls and what are your rubber balls. And so health, thank you. I didn't make it up. I don't know who came up with it, but I'm just sharing it here. But health is a glass ball, because if you really ride your body into the ground, like your health is going to suffer, right? Your health is going to pay for that. And whether that happens to be, drinking or eating foods that aren't healthy or never working out or whatever it is, like it's all going to catch up with you eventually.
At some point.
At some point, it may not be today or tomorrow, but like it will hit you at some point. I actually, last time I had a blood test, which was earlier this year, in the beginning of the year, my cholesterol, it's not quite high, but it's like scaling.
Sneaking up. Yeah.
It's like sneaking up. And I was like, oh no, I love French fries. I love potato chips. What do you mean I have high cholesterol? So like, that's something that I have to be aware of now, in my mid 40s. And then also too, like, I know that can happen sometimes. That meaning high cholesterol can happen around perimenopause and menopause too, right? And so like many times then people may start on a statin. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but like I said, I was like maybe inching towards that. So like that goes back to mindset of, maybe I shouldn't be eating so many French fries. Maybe I shouldn't be eating all of my son's leftovers when he has French fries and chicken fingers. Spoiler alert, I almost always eat my son's leftovers. And I'm sure I'm not the only mom who does. Like, they're right there. I don't want to throw them in the trash. So, of course, I'm going to eat those chicken fingers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's, and it's a world that is set up for failure when it comes to weight loss too, right? The food industry it sees that we're getting addicted to these foods, right? So they keep adding more sugar and salt and fat and all this stuff to foods that we want more and more and more. And we're so stressed out. Most people at this point are so stressed out. So it's really the perfect storm for weight gain, right? We're busy, we're stressed, all the options. Like, I think for me, the biggest struggle is having like something healthy ready to go, right? Like I go grocery shopping and I buy all the vegetables, I buy all the fruits. It's great. Am I going to actually make something with them, right? Or is it just going to be like, oh, I don't have time for that. Let me grab chicken fingers and fries or whatever it is, right? So, I think kind of just taking the step back from our entire lives and saying like, okay, what's important? What are the rubber balls? What are the glass balls? And how can I do everything I need to do? Because it's like you said, it will catch up to you at some point. And I definitely feel like for those of you that are under 45, I feel like it was a huge pivotal year for health. Like, I feel like I'm coming out of it very different than I went in. I look the same, right? It's like you said, your blood work might change. You might having different aches and pains, not being able to do things you did before. So, it's important to kind of stay on top of that.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. When you were talking about going grocery shopping and then when you come home and what you make, that happens to me. So I know that you're like, we're not alone on that one. Like, I'm sure everyone's listening going, yeah, the me who does grocery shopping and buys all of like the fruits and vegetables and all of that. And then the me who actually gets home and is like, now I have to prepare dinner. Two totally different people. Like literally two totally different people.
Yeah. And I even enjoy cooking. And I feel like that's definitely one of my rubber balls is cooking, right? Like sometimes, I do great, especially the winter. I cook a lot more. In the summertime, I don't have any time to cook anything, right? Trying to find those little periods of time, maybe making a little extra, finding the right recipes. I think really what it comes down to, if we're to kind of take a step back. So the first chapter in my book is called The Missing Link to Weight Loss, right?
What is the missing link to weight loss?
The missing link to weight loss. And I will tell you what it is because it's the first chapter. I'm not spoiling the book, but the missing link is you, right? We're given a diet and we see our neighbor and she's like, how did you lose 50 pounds? She's like, oh, I just did X, Y, and Z. And you're like, great, I'm going to do that. Just because it worked for her doesn't mean it's going to work for me. I have my own, struggles and time management and mindsets and all this other stuff that it doesn't mean that that's the right diet, right? So if you do choose to do that diet, you have to do it in a way that fits into your life. You can't just drop everything else and do this diet for 30 days and then be like, okay, going back to life now.
Yeah, because then you'll probably, my guess would be that you would gain the weight back too. Right. And I'm sure that you had mentioned before we even like hit record, you were saying something about women who may be 70 years old now have said that they've been on diet since they were like 12 or 13 years old. And there's a real level of yo-yo dieting that has happened in our culture. And so can you talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's some people who have a lot of weight to lose, right? And they can lose and gain, and that's one thing. But the other thing is, right, you see people who do maintain a normal weight. Some of them, it has come a little bit easier to some people than others. There's like a small percentage of the population that doesn't struggle as much. But there is another, group of people that, and I think it's a lot of women that, okay, you gain 10 pounds, now I'm going to lose it. Oh, I gained 10 pounds, now I'm going to lose it, right? It's like a smaller yo-yo dieting in a sense. So, this book's perfect for them too, because you want to get to the place where you're not on a diet, off a diet, on a diet, off a diet. It's like, this is just how I am. And sometimes I'm going to eat things that I love that aren't great for me. And some days I'm going to take off from exercise. But overall, like, I need to eat more healthy things than not. I need to exercise more than not. How do I make that happen? Where's my motivation? Where's my mindset shift?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Do you recommend a person keeping a food journal so that they could get an idea of what it is that they're consuming each day? How do you feel about that?
I've seen some success for it. And it's the same thing, as the whole book. You're the missing link. So does it work for you particularly? For me, it does not, right? But I've seen other people that it works great for and worked with people, right? So they write down every single thing they put into your mouth. Maybe you're less likely to put something like, I don't want to write Oreos down or whatever it may be. So you're
embarrassed to write that you ate like a whole sleeve of Thin Mints. I get that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it's just whether or not it works as a tool for you. And that's part of like the trial and error of figuring this out. Even looking back, say, you've been on X amount of diets. What were the parts of it that you're like, I really did great at that one because of this? I did not like that diet. Didn't work for my lifestyle at all. Or I hate meat and that's all that I was eating during, whatever it may be. So like trying to find a way to make it work for you. Everybody who wrote all these diet books that are out there, it worked for them, maybe some other people as well, right? But they're not you. just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And just because something works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for your friend. I think one of the things as a health coach and nutritionist that I try to really talk about with people is that you're on your own journey. It doesn't matter what other people are doing and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. It matters in that, you know, I might say like, oh, Tara, I tried brushing my teeth earlier and now I don't snack at night. The only thing you can take away from that is I'll try it. Maybe it'll work for me. Maybe it won't, right? But there's no need to be mad at yourself if it doesn't. There's another thing that'll work for you. There's hundreds of tips, right? So just continuing to almost use that trial and error until you're like, this is it. This is the lifestyle that I've been trying to get to.
Yeah, that totally makes so much sense. What would you say to somebody that comes to you and says, Katie, I've tried everything and I can't lose weight, or I've plateaued, like I said to you before, like I've plateaued, right? Like whether I do this or I do that, like it's pretty much about the same thing, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But, you know, I wouldn't be mad to maybe lose 5 pounds,
right?
You know,
right.
But no matter what I do at this point doesn't seem to be the case. So what do you just say to somebody that's like, I've tried everything and nothing worked?
Absolutely. I think that's when we take a step and we look at the specifics of what you've tried, of the specifics of what you're eating. And maybe this is when I'll be like, let's do a food journal for 3 days. Because often people are like, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. I only eat this super healthy lunch, dinner, and breakfast, but they don't count the things they snack on while they're cooking, or grabbing this real quick, or taking a couple M&Ms out of your kid's bag. Like they don't count all these other little snacks that we're having. And that adds up a lot, right? So there is a huge aspect of just being completely unaware of what you're putting in your mouth, almost like hypnotic state sometimes.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Too. So yeah, you could be eating very healthy meals or snacks, but if you have this other stuff going on, it's going to be part of the struggle. So my point is, you know, it's kind of sometimes let's look at what you're eating. Let's look at where your struggles are and we'll address the struggles, right? Instead of just do this. Like anyone comes to me and they'll be like, okay, here's what you have to do to lose weight. That's not how losing weight works, right? So
right. No, that totally makes sense. Going back to what I was saying about eating my son's like leftovers or his chicken fingers, like you're not thinking of that as a meal, but guess what? You're eating those, you know, probably 300 calories of chicken fingers and French fries. Maybe it's more than the 300 calories. Depends on, I guess, how much he ate that day. But like, I know that I wouldn't probably clock that as a meal because you're just like, oh, let me just do this while I'm cleaning up the kitchen. Or like you said, like eating a snack while you're cooking, something like that. So I am sure that I get more calories than I even think that I do sometimes. And I'm sure I'm not alone on that one. Like for me, and I can only speak for myself, I do a lot of intermittent fasting, right? So like I won't eat until noon. Actually, I'll tell you, I ate at 1:00 today for the first time. I'm not counting coffee because coffee is my like, you know, I'm not counting coffee as, you know, intermittent fasting, but I had coffee obviously in this morning. I didn't eat until 1:00. So I ate at 1. and then I'll eat again at dinner. But there are days where I won't eat until 1 o'clock or so. And then I am ravenous. So then I'm like, okay, now I need to eat a granola bar and maybe a handful of nuts and then maybe something else and then maybe something else. And so for the calories that I'm not getting in the morning, that I'm definitely getting when I'm sort of like snacky all over the place until to hold me over until dinner.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it does add up. And sometimes that's kind of what comes with intermittent fasting. I always say it works if you really dedicate to it, right? But that's really hard to do because you never know, like, if there's going to be a brunch somewhere for work that you need to go to or whatever it may be. So, it's doing your best, but trying to not get to the point where you're out of control, because getting out of control is where that's where like disconnection happens, right?
Yeah.
I worked in eating disorders when I was younger, and when you're starving yourself and you're like, I am not eating anything, your brain takes over, right? There's people who eat in their sleep because they're not getting enough calories during the day. There's people, and that's what binge eating is too. You're not in control when you're binge eating. You're not in control when you're snacking because your body's like, you're not doing it right, so I'm going to take over.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's it. You must have seen so many different things during your time working with eating disorders.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And, that plays into it too. And, I had some people that I worked with for eating disorders that were like, you wrote a book about weight loss. And I was like, honestly, it actually fits in for people with eating disorders too, because none of it's like, don't eat anything. It's all more so, let's work with our bodies. Let's figure out how to make this work for us. And it's the same thing with an eating disorder versus someone who's trying to lose weight.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. I want to talk a little bit about exercise and working out too, because as busy parents, many times it's hard to try to like fit in a workout into your day and into your week. And like, what do you think is the best way that moms can introduce an exercise routine or a new exercise routine into their busy schedule?
Absolutely. So I think, again, it's the trial and error in figuring out what's best for you, right? So some people, they don't get a chance, so they'll go ride bikes with their kids or play basketball or something like that. Other people, I always tell people, if you can do Pilates or something for 10 minutes a day, and you do that for however long, like a year, you're going to be in much better shape than if you didn't do that 10 minutes of Pilates. But a lot of exercise professionals are like, you have to do this or it doesn't even matter. And I don't think that that's true. I think do your best. If you can only fit in 10 minutes, you're going to be 10 minutes healthier than you would be if you did not work out, right?
Yeah.
So I think stepping away from all these absolutes that we hear, like you cannot eat bananas, like you can eat bananas, right? It's fine.
Good. I love bananas.
Exercise for at least 30 minutes before it takes any effect. Just sit back and think, if I did it for 10 minutes a day, I would not have the same body if I did not do that, right? So I think to answer your question, again, it's just figuring out what works for you, what works for your family, and understanding, this is in the book too, like understanding that just because it's working for me right now, my whole life's going to switch in a month probably because spring's coming and spring sports start and we're on a different schedule and all this stuff. So does that mean I failed my diet or my exercise? No, it means, okay, life's different now, and now I need to be different, right?
Yeah.
This works for me in winter, and now I know for next November or December what I'm going to do, but it's not going to necessarily work all summer.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. You know what I do that I try to introduce are like little micro habits of body movement while I'm doing chores. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was filling up my son's water bottle, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and you're like, waiting for it. I was doing calf raises. So I was going up on my toes while I was filling up his water bottle. And then sometimes when I'm brushing my teeth, like I'll do calf raises or I'll do squats or I'll do something or I'll pace a little bit so that I'm not just like standing still. And it's just like little ways to sneak in movement that I like otherwise wouldn't be doing.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's like I said, if you're doing that every day, you're going to be better off than if you're not, right? So I love that. And I think that you're finding something that's working for you, and that's perfect. Sometimes it's just finding that way to add more movement in, getting a standing desk or I don't know.
I did. That was my Christmas present. Did I tell you that?
No.
Oh, no, that was my Christmas present. Sam got me a standing desk and a walking pad.
Ooh.
So now, speaking about like micro habits, now I can like walk and stand and do my work, because the problem was I was sitting for so many hours every single day. And it was weighing on me, both like emotionally and physically, that I needed to do more movement, which is why I started doing, like I said, leg calf raises or squats or different things like that. But with the standing desk, now I'm more intentional about moving my body, so I don't just like plunk down for 5 hours at a clip.
Right.
And it's made a big difference. Sometimes I get down on myself. I'm like, Tara, you should walk more. Because like I'll always stand, but I don't always like stand and walk. Sometimes I just stand and instead of standing and walking. But I just think like at least I'm standing. At least I'm doing something, right? Like like you said, like every little bit helps. I think it's like building the scaffolding that goes into that. So I think it's super important.
Yeah. And
I love that so much.
Oh, I was going to say, I think too, like same thing with food, right? Is it's always about what we shouldn't eat, right? And I think sometimes the focus should really be more on what we should be eating, right? Trying to get in like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, all this stuff that is nutrient packed. And that's what's going to help us with aging. We're all aging, right? So it's going to help us with that. And, you know, it's the little things, it's the little habits. And you nailed it when you said that. The micro habits, right? That's what makes people successful in life is micro habits. It's not to be like, that person's just lucky and they're thin. It's because, you know, every morning they exercise or, you know, they eat a certain way or whatever it may be. So, you know, try to find those micro habits that you can start fitting into your life and doing it in a way that works for you and your family.
That's such great advice. Thank you, Katie, for that. I'm going to ask you a question that I ask all of my guests, and I'm super curious to hear what your answer is. Are you ready?
I am nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's okay. What do you think is the biggest modern mom problem today?
Oh, gosh, that's loaded.
It sure is.
I think community. That's my answer. I think community after the pandemic has not been the same. We did a really great job making sure we kept our community strong, like during the pandemic. And I think we come out of it and we're just like, oh, we don't have to see each other that much. And we just don't have that community that we used to do. Like there's days that I feel like I don't see anybody, right? Where it's just like I'm working.
I very much don't. Like I am literally living in my own silo. Like thank God for the internet because
And, you know, it's interesting because it ties into the consumerism, right? If you look at it, because we're paying for all these things that would have been like, oh, my grandmother taught me that if you do this thing with your baby, they sleep through the night, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
And now we're like, I'm not listening to you, grandma. The internet says this. And now instead of listening to grandma, we're going to go spend all this money on all these products that are developed for this now, right? So I don't say this to say you shouldn't buy anything and that you should listen to your grandma. I don't know your grandma. She might be crazy, right? But I think that, you know, listening to other people, like listening to tips and tricks and all this other stuff, that's going to help us with motherhood more than any book is going to help us.
Yeah, no, it is so true. I love that answer. I think that is so important. I often say, the lack of an in-person village is a major modern mom problem. So you absolutely tapped into that one. Katie, where can we buy your book? Where could we follow you? Tell me all the things.
Absolutely. So I'm on Amazon, the book, The Missing Links to Weight Loss, and available in both ebook and hard copy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is exciting because I struggled with that with my first publisher. So now it is all available. And then you can also find me online, and I am on Missing Links Health is the name of my site at this point. So so it's another place to find me. And
follow Katie, follow her, follow along.
Absolutely. Send me a message. I always love to hear from people. I always say, you know, being a professional, you need to be a lifelong learner. I've learned so much from people that I'm trying to help, and they'll help me or they'll help me help someone else. Right. So I think listening is all about
it's
it.
Key.
Love hearing from people. Yes.
I think that's awesome. And you also give, I mean, in addition to listening, but you always gave great advice about like, kind of like eat this, don't eat that kind of thing on your page too. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Katie, thank you for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Modern Mom Probs. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive in today's problem with me, your host, Tara Clark. Join me next time when I'll be interviewing another great guest and tackling another modern mom problem. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and a rating. As always, you could head over to Modern Mom Probs on Instagram and give me a follow. Or check out my book, Modern Mom Probs, a survival guide for 21st century mothers. Available online wherever books are sold. Well, that's it for today. See you next time, folks.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.